Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Vanston, and we are back with the plumber, baby! Because despite my original Super Mario Bros. Movie video having as many Easter eggs as it did, there were still a ton that didn't make the cut.
Cut it out.
Sometimes things are cut for time, sometimes things seem too obvious, or there's not enough evidence to support something, and sometimes things are too hard to make out or I just miss things upon first viewing. After all, the first video was written after I'd only seen it twice in theaters. But now the Super Mario Bros. Movie is officially available online, and I can go frame by frame to get all those little leggies. I'm not covering the over 130 songs and hundreds of sound effects and game moves though. You'll have to deal with the ones I mentioned in the previous video. I have a limited sanity. Also, Secret Invasion is here! Be sure to tune into New Rockstars every Wednesday for our Secret Invasion breakdowns, and there's even more Secret Invasion discussion on our newest channel, The Break Room. That show is filled with conspiracies, research walls, and more crazy details, and we'll be breaking it all down on New Rockstars and The Break Room. But starting with the first scene, one of the things I didn't get to mention in the previous video is the insane amount of crossover in the voice cast between this movie and Teen Titans Go, which starts with Kamek being voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, who also voiced Trigon. And this amount of crossover makes sense since the creator of Teen Titans Go, Michael Jelinek and Aaron Horvath, directed this movie. This led to the crossover casting of the voices for the Penguin King, Mario's mom, Uncle Arthur, the Toad General, the Koopa General, and several of the additional voices in the movie. Hopping into the diner, let's take a closer look at this commercial, namely the map. Looking at the points on the map, of course we have Punch-Out and Burger Castle to represent Punch-Out Pizzeria and Castle Burger, which I don't know why they flipped the names. That's so confusing. There's also Mushroom Planet and Red Hill, which I believe are Sonic references, as Mushroom Planet is in the second Sonic movie, and the proximity of Red Hill makes me think that it's a parody of Green Hill Zone, although it could also be referring to the capsule-shaped hills seen throughout the Mushroom Kingdom, since we see in Super Mario Run that they're simply called the color of the hill they are. Point Beach might just be like how many points you have in a game. Volley Beach is possibly a nod to beach volleyball being seen in some Nintendo games. Greenwood might be a reference to growing Greenwood in New Super Mario Bros. Wii or Greenwood Village in Diddy Kong Racing. Sunset possibly referring to Sunset Wilds in Mario Kart. Green Shell being another Mario Kart nod. Marshland potentially calling back to the soundtrack song from Zelda Majora's Mask. And Bakery being maybe one of these bakeries, I don't know. The other ones I can make out, but I'm not sure if they're direct references to anything in particular, are Marsh Hill, Big Tower, Saluter, Fame Hill, Arbiters, Short City, and Scio Hill. For streets, I can make out Red Hill Street, which we touched on before, Tiny Avenue and Big Street Avenue, which may be a nod to Tiny Huge Island from Super Mario 64, 87th Street, potentially referring to 1987, in which several huge name games came out, such as Metroid, Kid Icarus, and The Legend of Zelda, 74th Street, which, if it's referencing the year 1974, is when the light gun game Wild Gunman was released, Link Street and Wolf Street, likely tied together by Zelda Twilight Princess, Mansion Street, a nod to Luigi's Mansion, Hollis Street, likely a nod to Martin Hollis, a former video game designer who started at Rare in 1993 and eventually directed GoldenEye 007, Hanfuda Avenue and 1889th Street, a reference to the Hanafuda playing cards released upon Nintendo's founding in 1889, and we can actually see Hanafuda Company on the Luck Cards ad at the end of the movie, which is why there's also a Luck Card Street on the map. Now, it's a commonly held belief that Nintendo roughly translates to leave luck to heaven, which might explain the connection. However, this has never officially been verified, and there's even some evidence that points to this being unlikely given the context. But for that, I'll point you to a great Kotaku article I found where you can read about it. Either way, Luck Cards might be in reference to the playing cards, but it's possible it might be a reference to something else, like the card flip game in Super Mario Bros. 3, which requires some level of luck. Couple other little deets we left out last time were this Luigi's Mansion-esque pose they strike, and while the faces on the dollar signs are conveniently covered, in this shot you can see that I think it's supposed to be the same presidents as on our money, though they have 30-cent coins as well. And you know what, in this video we're laying it all on the table, even things that aren't 100% solved. So the TV brand is PHR Vision, an acronym we also see later on the news, so it seems intentional, but I don't know why that acronym. Speaking of news, the chyron along the bottom has news headlines stolen vegetables recovered by ice climbers, a clear ice climbers reference, and police respond to disturbance near Hogan's Alley, Hogan's Alley being an NES game. Later on in the news, we talked about the crab headline and wave race reference in the last video, but we also get a headline ending in Detect Signals in Star System FS-176, a Metroid reference, and the very first part of a headline reading VWA Check, referring to the Video Wrestling Association in NES's Pro Wrestling. Also, the logo for this news channel matches the MKTV logo for Mario Kart. And before we head out of the diner, there's a very cute Dash Pepper from Super Mario Galaxy 2 on their hot sauce bottles. Moving outside, Mario's got an M on his keychain, and his truck has a sticker similar to the official Nintendo seal of quality. The grocer has a flyer from Melody, perhaps a reference to pianist Melody Pianissima from Luigi's Mansion. A newspaper Mario passes called the Daily 8-Bit has the headline, "The Mustache is Back," and although we called out the fact that Castle Burger was shaped like a castle at at the end of the section meant to represent level 1-1, we forgot to mention the star at the quote-unquote end of the level 2, though getting a star at the end of a level is more Super Mario 64. Heading into the couple's apartment, this friggin' place holds 2 out of 3 of the biggest question marks that I have not been able to stop thinking about since I first saw the movie. First, the paintings have a signature that begins with T and ends in PI, but it doesn't seem to be the pun of the name of a famous artist. There's no famous artist I can find with a last name that starts with T and ends with PI. There's no one who worked on the movie with those letters. I even checked the people who worked on Super Mario Bros. 3 since I believe the paintings are of the background panels from that game. Topi is an enemy in Ice Climbers, but that's nothing! That's nothing! Who is this? The other name that kills me is the dog being named Francis. Sure, Francis is the name of the chameleon in Super Paper Mario, but that can't be all there is to it. I checked if it was the name of one of the crew members. Pets, kids, spouses, couldn't find anything. It's so specific though. It's ruining my life. Moving on so I can lower my blood pressure. Many of the books this couple has is fittingly artsy-fartsy, like this book just titled Architecture, but the level of meta with these titles is great. They have books titled None, More, and Nothing, a book with an M on it, perhaps for Mario, and a 4-book series titled 1/4 Book. They also have a book series that has red, magenta, blue, yellow, and green squares, which match up to the main components of added color mixing that is used for screens and, say, of video games. The only color missing is cyan, but there also seems to be a book missing from the shelf. Further down, they also have a book that has red, green, and blue squares, the primary colors of light. Mario and Luigi's house suffered the brunt of the most cut-for-time Easter eggs just because there's so much in here. Firstly, when they come in, the Ayo is a reference to Luigi's voice actor Charlie Day's character on It's Always Sunny, who commonly enters the room with an Ayo! Some of the things around the room that we didn't point out last time are the family portraits up on the wall, the notable ones being Mario striking a pose from Mario Tennis Aces, and baby Mario and Luigi riding in the same little cart a la Double Dash style. They also have a sports pennant for Little Mac and one for golf, a nod to yet another sport that Mario has played, and that pennant says Slugger Mate. Though at first I thought it said Slugger Butts, and now I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with the 200 Ghost Slugger Butt shirts I had printed. But we see the name again later in Mario's room on a poster that says Slugger Mate vs. Ultra Machine. Ultra Machine being a toy released in Japan by Nintendo in 1967, which was released in other countries under the name Slugger Mate. On the bookshelves, we can see they have a statuette that gives me major precious moments flashbacks, some fantasy books like this fairy tale book and Little Red Riding Hood, and some figurines that I can't quite place, but the feather in this one's hair looks a little like a cape feather. On the dinner table, there's a bottle of vinegar that has the chef from the DS game Personal Trainer cooking on it, and later on they also have orange juice with a character that gives me Grubba from Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door vibes, or just a blue spike, and the character on the maple syrup bottle looks to maybe be the Burger Time chef, or more obscurely, maybe even Chef Pierre from the game Out to Lunch. For dinner, the family's eating some classic Italian dishes, including a mushroom carbonara, a salad with red onion, black olives, and a vinaigrette, and minestrone soup. While the main joke of Uncle Tony snatching the salad bowl out of Luigi's hands is that he keeps taking Luigi's food throughout the scene before he can eat it, an interesting note is that this may double as an acknowledgement that in Italy you never start with the salad. It is almost always a later course or served alongside a course as a side, making it okay for the uncle to have it with his spaghetti, but not as Luigi's first helping. Uncle Tony is also the one who asked them what's with the white gloves, and Mario says you gotta have a trademark and stand out. Shigeru Miyamoto said in an interview that he gave Mario gloves to stand out from his clothes and make his movements easier to spot when he jumped. While we pointed out a lot of the memorabilia in Mario's room last time, there's a whole lot more to mention. We can see a baseball on the ground as an homage to Mario's baseball history, and oddly enough a football helmet, which is one of the only massively popular sports that hasn't been made into a Mario game. He also has a drawing mannequin, and I'm really hoping this artistic possession is an ode to Mario Paint, which I still hold in my heart to this day. And other cute Easter eggs we didn't get to last time are a calendar with an Excitebike picture, a Nintendo logo sticker on his TV, a box with Galaxy written on it, a nod to Super Mario Galaxy, and a whole lot of pipes and tools, including a box saying Pipe Co. Looking at his bulletin board a little more closely, we can see postcards that have their truck logo, a letter that has the same red, white, and blue border also seen in the kitchen, reminiscent of the letters in Super Mario Galaxy 2, and drawings of them as adults and babies that resemble the Mario Kart Wii cover. Before we hop into the Mushroom Kingdom, we pointed out how the level 1-2 sign in the sewers was a Super Mario Bros. Reference, but I also saw a few people online speculating that the design of the sign is based off of the sign in Nintendo's original headquarters in Kyoto. And while not one for one, I thought the resemblance was interesting. But let's get sucked through that clear pipe and cloud world that resembles Super Mario 3D World and land in the Mushroom Kingdom with Mario, where we're surrounded by Cheep Cheeps, Bramballs, Bitty Buds, and Little Birds. Yes, they're canonically called Little Birds. You can also see some fortresses in the background surrounding the red brick structure that Mario shot out of. And we pointed this out in a previous video, but I want to stress again the symbolism behind the structure where Mario crosses from the real world to the Mushroom Kingdom, being made of realistic red brick, which merges the human world and the red bricks we know from the games, and having an archway, which is a common symbol of transition and change in media. That's great design, folks! Also previously mentioned in one of our trailer breakdowns, Toad warning Mario not to touch the blue mushroom or he'll die before correcting himself is likely a joke that he's mistaking it for a poison mushroom, which in the games are purple. Touching base with Luigi, the fortress he runs to has the same shape as the fortresses on the world map in Super Mario World, and the inside has a checkered flooring and center staircase like Bowser's Castle in Paper Mario Origami King. Though fortresses have also had a checkered floors in Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario All-Stars. When Luigi has a flashback, you can see a yellow truck with a red ladder, which is the same design as the brothers' truck when they're older. And then there's this kid. Now this kid is the last giant mystery to me, and I have been thinking about it since I first saw the movie, and I will be thinking about this on my deathbed. I will be in the ground annoying worms with my conspiracy theories. But this kid's design is so specific, and yet for the life of me, I cannot figure out who it's supposed to be. I have 3 theories, but to be honest, none are airtight. The first and strongest one to me is that this kid is just supposed to match the color scheme of the bully enemy from the Mario games, which tracks to me because he's a bully. The second is that he's maybe just supposed to give off Koopaling vibes with the green and yellow and the shades. And then lastly, someone told me that they thought it was supposed to be Spike the Foreman since he wore sunglasses, was slightly older, and bullied Luigi. And this is plausible since there are plenty of examples of kids being blonde when they're young and getting dark hair as they grow up. But I think in this medium, if they meant for it to be Spike, they would have just given him dark hair, you know? But to be honest, I'm not 100% satisfied with any of these answers. What's the tint on his shirt? It's so specific! Anyway, all I know is that the pin on his backpack looks like a dizzy dial, so there.
And thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Here at New Rockstars, we like to figure out what makes movies work, go frame by frame to really figure out what's going on. But when we need insight on what's going on with ourselves, we use BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, just answer a few questions about what you're looking for from therapy and what your preferences are. BetterHelp will then match you with a therapist from their network that's right for you. After that, talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. BetterHelp gives you the same level of professionalism and quality you can expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who's custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/newrockstars. That's BETTERHELP.com/newrockstars for 10% off your first month of therapy.
This next one, I'm honestly not really sure how this happened, but my mention of the wands in the antique shop accidentally got cut. But they're there. Along with these secret eggplants that I'm still convinced are just that. Can't get one past me, Nintendo. I can see an eggplant from a mile away. A doink. And then this one's on me, but while we pointed out the star design in the railing of Peach's courtyard, I somehow missed the mushroom designs until this last watch through. And Toad cooking to distract the guards might be a hint that he might eventually be the Captain Toad, since Captain Toad cooks, even though this dish is much more Breath of the Wild to me. During the travel montage, Mario chomps on an apple when walking through what I'm stubbornly calling Yoshi's Island, and this Yoshi licks their lips, a reference to apples being the fruit that Yoshi originally ate in Super Mario World. Not so much an Easter egg, but in Princess Peach's flashback, we can see that she didn't come out of the same pipe as Mario did, which doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't come from the same world as him, but it is interesting. Checking in on the big bad of the movie, we had it in writing in the last breakdown, but I just thought I'd say it with my human voice that Bowser's piano says Ludwig von Koopa, the name of one of the Koopa kids, and also a play on the composer and pianist Ludwig van Beethoven. And as he sings Peaches at the piano, several images of Peach appear that are reminiscent of Peach's ultimate smash in the Super Smash Bros. Games. Now this made it into a trailer breakdown, but not the movie breakdown, but the statues that Bowser has of himself everywhere are classic Bowser, as statues of himself are seen in several of the Mario games. Let's talk DK! I knew that so many things were hidden in this high-speed kart scene, and going through it frame by frame, this is the case. Firstly, although we see Chunky Kong in the stadium scene, we also can see him in the background during this part. Swanky Kong, who is in the poster but notably missing from the stadium scene in the actual movie, is actually the one who gets hit by the banana that the blonde Kong throws. Him being sans hat really threw me off. Finally, there's a cute no bullet bill sign that's a Mario Kart nod to when you turn into a giant bullet bill hitting people out of the way. In the stadium, aside from all of the smash moves, Donkey Kong throws barrels at Mario, a throwback to the original Donkey Kong arcade game. And the Mini Mushroom and Super Bell are both power-ups that are in the games, originating at least specifically how they appear in the movie from New Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario 3D World respectively. In the stands, the DK banners have 8-bit Donkey Kongs on them. There's a Kong with an N on their hat and a Kong with a 64 on their shirt, together making N64. And Diddy Kong plays bongos in celebration like in Donkey Konga. Last little Kong things to point out are that Dory and A or the Ma-Ray both appear on the map in Cranky's cabin. And in the Kart Factory, the workers have patches of the banana cup symbol from the Mario Kart series. Yeah, I lied, one more Kong thing. When they're arguing in the Ma-Ray about Donkey Kong being just a Smash Monkey, this is possibly a reference to the Monkey Smash game mode in Donkey Kong 64. Another section that moves really quickly is Peach and Toad heading back through town. During this part, there are street signs that point to Peach's castle and the Toad shop/houses, a sign saying what people can find in the blue mushroom sector, which consists of the Super Mario Bros. 3 chests, likely representing the ATMs, shops, and pipes, and one of the shops has boomerangs and POW blocks like the antique shop, but also has super pickaxes from Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and boots, either meant to reference the Goomba shoe item originally from Super Mario Bros. 3, or maybe the boots you get in Paper Mario. And we talked about the paintings in the castle previously, but in this section we specifically see Toadette in one of them. Fast forward to the wedding scene, and one of the things I love happening in the background is a piranha plant hungrily looking at a Goomba, and the Goomba absolutely sweating right now considering this piranha plant's habits of putting things in its mouth that we see throughout the movie. There's also a heart-shaped wedding arbor that is reminiscent of the cake topper used in Mario Odyssey, and on the gift table there's a green and yellow present just like the opening of New Super Mario Bros. One trope they're sticking with that I love is the Sniffets and Shy Guys being cowards. As you can see, one hiding behind a tree when Mario and DK are fighting, and some hiding behind pews and ice while Peach is kicking booty. When Bowser launches the bomber bill at the castle, many fans were reminded of Super Smash Bros. Melee, where periodically on Princess Peach's castle level, a bonsai bill will hit the castle, causing a large explosion. Then we make it back to Brooklyn, and let's go ahead and call out all the buildings and whatnot that we didn't get to last time. A tour of Mario's block, if you will. Punch-Out Pizzeria is located on Brooklyn Street, and shops around the block include Blizzard Pop Ice Cream with a polar bear from Ice Climbers, Blizzard being one of the Ice Climber special moves in Super Smash Bros., a donut shop perhaps referencing the donut block from Super Mario Bros. 3, or maybe donut planes from Super Mario World, Gyro Mart referencing NES game Gyromite with an icon of Rob, a medical office with capsules from Dr. Mario on the sign, Stack Up Shoe Center referencing NES game Stack Up, Something 7 Clinic. Let me know in the comments if you can tell what that first word's supposed to be, because I can't make it out. City Bike with an Excite Bike icon on the sign, a big enterprise building, a Soda Popinski sign that, along with an ad on the building that says Popinski, is referencing the Punch-Out character of the same name, and a card shop with a picture of the Hanafuda playing cards themselves and a fuzzy originally from Super Mario World. When Bowser's attacking Mario, we can see that one of the cars has a license plate that says BNQ 1925. Now this license plate number can also be seen in several pieces of media, including Minions: The Rise of Gru, Episode 1 of DreamWorks' Spooky Stories, and a few procedural crime dramas. This is because Hollywood has a short list of license plates that aren't in use in the real world, and BNQ 1925 is one for New York, which is kind of nifty how even in an animated movie they used a New York specific one for a car in Brooklyn. The Shy Guy jumping on Spike at the end reminds me of the Shy Guys harassing villagers in Super Mario RPG, and no, I will never let go of the dream that they'll one day acknowledge that game again.
Later that day.
Bowser being bottled up is not unlike the ending credits of Super Mario 3D World. Luigi gets his moment in the sun as he hits his finger guns victory pose that originated from Super Smash Bros. Melee as he's jumping into the pipe at the end, and the after credits scene with the Yoshi egg gives me some major Jurassic Park / World vibes with the egg slowly breaking. And those were all of the extra Easter eggs for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. If you watch this without somehow watching the original breakdown, that's insane. Please go watch that one too, which has every other Easter egg we found. Meanwhile, you can follow me on Twitter at @It'sAnnaVanston, follow and subscribe to New Rockstars at New Rockstars, and hit that bell so you can be notified when we have more breakdowns of everything you love. And hey, if you like live discussions, debates, and reactions to the titles you can't get enough of, be sure to subscribe to our live channel, The Break Room. Bye-bye! That's my best Mario. I'll go practice.